I had a little bit more pepper, these green beans would be perfect.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Hi, Chris Wilson.
Us for today's Path of Exile livestream. We have a packed show today, with announcements for Path of Exile 2, as well as the exclusive unveiling of Path of Exile Affliction, which launches on December 8th on PC and Mac, and on December 13th on console.
Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so
Big
make sure you follow the
Bug!
instructions below in order to claim your Huntsman wings.
He's on my back!
We'll start with Path of Exile 2, where Jonathan will walk you through our latest announcements. Mark will then take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Affliction Challenge League, which launches in 1 week. He'll cover the league mechanics, its rewards, some new content we're adding to the core Path of Exile experience, and some large metagame changes. I'll then show you our annual core supporter packs, and we'll head into our live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask us your questions from Twitch chat.
You know it's gonna be a
After
banger
the
when
live
it's got
stream, we'll
Ziggy
drop
D.
the full patch notes.
I'd like to hand over to Jonathan Rogers, Game Director of Path of Exile 2.
2 years
Hey
off my
guys,
shoulders
it's
is
been a few
what I
months
just did.
since we introduced you to the Druid in Path of Exile 2. But one of the things that we're really focusing on now is how varied each of the classes feels to play.
Okay.
The monk darts around quickly from enemy to enemy, building and unleashing combos. If he doesn't stay in combat, he loses momentum and has to build it up again.
Moving quickly from pack to pack. I'm waiting.
The warrior, on the other hand, is like a slow but unstoppable freight train. A warrior commits to big attacks and relies on stunning his enemies to stay safe in the thick of combat. When an opening presents itself, a warrior can use even larger attacks to demolish his enemies. The Huntress seamlessly moves from melee to ranged combat and back. The true damage potential of the Huntress is only unlocked when you learn to combine ranged and melee abilities together.
Multi-button spec. Not a one-button build.
And then there are the spellcasters. The sorceress is a pure caster who much prefers to stay at range and drop powerful spells on her foes. If she finds
Huge
herself surrounded
damage.
by enemies, she would rather use an ability to escape than to take
Okay.
them on directly.
Oh my god, the AoE.
The druid is also a spellcaster, but unlike the sorceress, he uses his spells as a means to support his melee abilities.
I
And
love
by
the
melee
druid
abilities,
vibe.
we mean he can turn into a giant animal and rip his enemies to pieces.
Look at that lightning storm just pumping out damage.
Each of these classes feels extremely different to play, but we want to go even further. It's time to check out the Mercenary.
There's not a job out there I won't take, so long as the pay's good and a crossbow can solve it.
This is so cool. I'm so ready. Like, they surprised us all, I think, with when they did the teaser that showed off the guns. Insane.
I'll take 'em all down.
I wonder, what are the skill gems gonna look like for a character like this?
When thinking about each new class, we really try to think about how we can make combat feel different from all the others.
That is
For
just
the
so
Mercenary,
cool,
that
dude.
difference is the crossbow. A crossbow is fundamentally different than a regular bow.
It is
It
just so
fires
cool.
instantly instead of
We're an
needing people
FPS
back.
game now, boys.
This
And
means
girls.
that you need
And
immediate
theys.
feedback.
And thems.
Clicking the fire button should make the character shoot instantly, just like in a shooter. As soon as we experienced that, we realized that there are a lot of design lessons to learn from shooters, and so we fully embraced them.
Oh my goodness.
In Path of Exile 2, we have
The
crossbows
Mad
with
Lads,
sniper
let them
rifles,
cook.
shotguns, and assault rifles.
Assault rifles and shotguns?
But in order to really get shooter-like gameplay,
This
we
is
wanted to
so
go
cool.
further. In Path of Exile 2, we now support WASD movement.
Yo, I
You
thought
can
I
now
was gonna
walk
be...
around in any direction independent of aiming. In fact, if this is your preferred method of gameplay, you can use it on any class, regardless of what weapon type you're using.
That is insane.
You can change between click to move or WASD at any time.
But what about
You can only
skills?
hold
What are your
two
hotkeys for your
crossbows at a
skills? Is it
time,
1, 2, 3, 4,
but
5?
Path of Exile
Something like
2 is all about interesting combinations of
that?
abilities.
And then mouses?
And this is where ammo skills come in.
Ammo skills.
This is a burst shot crossbow. And right now,
Yeah, I thought I was just
gonna
gonna be excited about like, oh, there's gonna be like a crossbow or there's gonna be like a one-handed crossbow or something like that.
Right through them.
And they come out with what? There's shotguns?
But there are other ammos too. For a bigger single target, it might be a good idea to switch to Incendiary. The more projectiles hit the target, the stronger the ignite, so you'll want to get up nice, close and personal with this one.
Ignite guns?
If you have a bunch
We've
of targets
got
coming
a
at you, you might want to slow them down.
gunslinger
In this case,
ignite
you can
build.
switch to permafrost burst shot. Shooting a bunch of smaller enemies at range will
Frost
chill them
shot?
and potentially even freeze them in place. Once you have some frozen enemies, though,
Does that mean
you
that
can
there's
switch
just
back
one
to
for
armor
each
piercing.
element?
Shooting
gonna
a
be a
frozen
shock
enemy
shot?
with armor-piercing burst shot will explode the ice, doing a huge amount of damage to all nearby enemies.
Concussive shot? Vampiric shot? Poisonous?
Another feature crossbows have is attachments. This is a grenade launcher.
I feel like
As you can see, when I equip it, it appears
sky
on
is
the
the limit.
underside of the crossbow. These attachments are just like skill gems, so you effectively get extra skill slots. And you
I
can
love
augment
starting
these with
as
support gems, just like
something
regular
new,
skills.
something I haven't done before. That's how I usually like to experience the game.
These grenades take a while to
I don't really
explode,
ever care
so it's a
about
good
like
idea to
doing
pair them
Ubers
with
or
some kind of
anything.
crowd control,
Like people
permafrost
like
burst
flame me in my videos sometimes because they're like, "Oh, this isn't like what I like to do." This looks so cool. And he just look at the coverage. Does he already have like
We have
GMP
other
or something?
grenades too, though. This attachment is a flash
Oh, wait.
grenade.
Wait,
It
he's
does
got
barely any
GMP in his
damage, but it
inventory.
does a huge amount of stun. It can be a great opener before you run into combat.
It
Now,
sounds
here's
like they
another
reined in some of the
attachment,
voice
an
lines
oil
too.
grenade.
I feel like I remember some of the
Firing
voice
one
lines
of these
being
grenades coats the
a little
ground
spammy.
and nearby enemies in oil. Oil slows enemies down, so it's another useful crowd control mechanic.
This is. It just
Now,
feels
another
like
thing
it's.
that oil can do is be set on fire. Any burning enemy
So
or
new.
explosion will ignite the oil, causing extra burning damage.
Like Druid is something that we've kind of been in the know about for a while now, but this is just so out of left field. It's
One
like
of the problems with burst shot crossbows is that each pellet doesn't do much damage individually. This means that if enemies have armor, then it will be very effective preventing that damage. But thankfully, you can equip an
And don't we
additional
get
crossbow
mercenaries
in your
now?
second weapon set to deal with the weaknesses of your primary weapon. This is a rapid shot crossbow. Rapid shot is great for closing on enemies because you can shoot while running. In Path of Exile 2, we now have the ability to allow you to use some skills while
that's so
moving.
cool.
Being able to create skills like this opens up a lot of new design space and allows
I
us to
love
really
it when they
increase the
fucking
pace of combat.
experiment with item types like this.
The armor-piercing version of Rapid Shot slowly erodes a monster's armor. Once the armor is fully broken, you can easily switch back to Burst Shot to deal much more damage.
You're like a what is it?
Being able to
A
run while
demon
shooting
hunter?
with
What
Rapid
was it
Shot
in
is
Diablo
also
3?
great for when you want to perform a fighting retreat.
But you're with guns. You're Van Helsing. This is Van
Using
Helsing the
permafrost
class.
Ammo with Rapid Shot is also useful if you need to retreat. When you shoot the ground, it creates ice crystals. If you draw monsters back over these crystals, they explode, chilling the monsters. It's great if you want to set up a safe zone before pulling the next pack.
This is insane.
Slowing enemies down can come in handy if you want to use the incendiary version of Rapid Shot. Using this skill requires that you charge up a little bit before it fires, but as it continues to heat up, it will do more and more damage. It has a really large clip size, so you can just keep firing and firing with it. But the other really useful feature is that when the crossbow is heated up, it adds extra fire damage to any grenade that you launch.
Uh-oh. He's in trouble.
Now I've been using explosive grenades
Pick
here,
up that portal
but it will
scroll.
work equally as well with flash or oil grenades too. If you use it with oil grenades, the oil will catch fire immediately.
Lots of interactions. Again, showcasing interactions. I like it. Minions? You're excited about minions, Irony? My beard's all sideways now.
Another crossbow type that you can find is Power Shot. This one works just like a classic sniper rifle. Use it with armor.
They're attached to weapons? What happened? Are we doomed?
Piercing ammo,
Okay.
and it will penetrate armor on
Phew.
targets. So it's a good idea to use when something's really tough.
Back down or die!
Now this skill has another interesting interaction with armor break. If an enemy has its armor broken, then your Power Shot hits a weak spot and does a huge
Is this
amount of
setting up
single
like the
target damage.
groundwork for saying like,
With a
hey,
bunch of
these are
extra
like different
stuff to
item
do.
types that are gonna have different skills attached to them? So it's like you're gonna be using this weapon to clear maps, and then you're gonna be using this weapon to clear, you know, rares or
Now,
or
the
bosses,
incendiary
and
version of Power Shot is more like a rocket launcher. It
you
does a
obviously
big
only have like
explosive
2
blast
weapon
at a
slots,
distance.
so you're gonna like have to nuance your build around the kind of gameplay you want to have and the kind of interactions you enjoy. I did mention Mercenaries. I'm pretty confident it's gonna be something. You ever played like Diablo 2?
One of the really useful features
I don't
of
know
this
if Diablo
version is that
3
you
or
can
4 have
explode any
Mercenaries,
grenades
but
that
I know
happen to be on
Diablo
the
2
ground.
did. And I think they said something about that. Could be wrong. I'm not like turbo up to date. I posted all to my Discord.
This combo
but
also works really well with
I'm
incendiary
human, I'm one
rapid
guy.
shot.
I'm
gonna
bound to
charge
forget
up the
some
heat on my
stuff.
crossbow, shoot out a bunch of grenades, and then start the fireworks with a Power Shot.
I'm just one guy. Boom!
The ice version of Power Shot creates frost walls at a distance. This is great for crowd controlling monsters in tight passages. The wall segments have other uses too. If they get destroyed
Utility?
by monsters, then they will explode, doing a small amount of damage.
Block him in!
Now, remember that burst shot combo with frozen enemies we did earlier? That works with ice walls too. Let's put burst shot back on. Now I can fill up this area with ice walls, then shoot them with armor piercing burst shot for a huge amount of damage.
I'm just in awe about how many different
Alright,
interactions
time to face
there
the
are.
boss for this area. Let's
And this
see
is
how
just
we
a
fare
single
against him with
character.
All the skills I've shown you so far.
Just like rips swords out of herself. Yo, turn down the dialogue volume. Oh my god. It's just like these fights are so visceral. And you don't have many like mobility options to get out of them. Final phase. You gotta dodge. You're gonna take damage on that, it looks like. Oh, so close! Come on, drink a potion! You have 3! He doesn't drink a potion. That was a cool sequence of events at the end where he's like, tum tum tum.
And that's the Mercenary.
You're like
Feels
Junkrat from
totally
Overwatch
different
for a
than
quick
anything we've
second.
made before, and shows you the
You
range of
hate
what's
not having
possible
dash
in
at
Path of
start?
Exile 2.
Do you not start with dash? Have you actually gotten to try it? That's all they have to show us for Path of Exile 2? Those rats! They know we want more.
We're going to be showing off a lot more about Path of Exile 2 as we approach its beta, but in the meantime, we've got a Path of Exile 1 expansion coming out next week. I'm going to hand over to Mark, also known as Neon, to show you what's in store for POE 1.
Thanks, Jonathan. Well, let's just go
Are they
ahead and
really
get
in the
straight
same
on into
room?
it. Here's the trailer for Path of Exile Affliction.
Something moves in the mists. Something
Alright, guys.
sinister.
When is 2? Probably 2024 is the beta.
Rot, plague, and claw. The affliction spreads.
What is that thing?
Hungers for
Was that the
more.
boss? It's a safe zone?
Tread lightly in the wildwood, which shifts and fights.
You're traveling through the
Accept
witch's woods.
Our help, the ancient power of the Asmiri.
What?
Beware the spirits.
New ascendancies?
For freedom.
Like corrupted ascendancies? What are we talking about here?
That waits in the dark.
Okay. Wildwood ascendancies. You're gonna have to give me the patch notes right now.
Ready yourself.
Return of ultimatum!
I will be waiting.
We made it! Oh my god, log in! Yo. 8 days. Oh my god. What the hell is a
In the
Wildwood
Affliction
ascendancy?
League, you will encounter sacred wisps, which beckon you to enter overgrown passageways that lead to the Viridian Wildwood.
I see you with the sword MTX.
A vile affliction has covered this forest with a foreboding darkness. You'll need to uncover the forest mysteries to put a stop to the source of the affliction. As you approach the darkness, the wisps burn away its affliction. Make sure you tread carefully, because they only have a limited amount of power. But be warned, the darkness is full of cursed monsters that emerge to kill you. As you explore, you might see other types
Using a
of
melee
wisps
skill?
trapped inside the darkness. The Wildwood is trying to guide you towards clues about its affliction. Follow the trails of wisps by collecting them, and you may uncover many different secrets. New characters to find, shrines, boss battles, and all kinds of new encounters are lurking in the forest just waiting
Kinda,
for
you
you
know,
to discover them.
A little bit of a delve
There are
vibe.
many rewards to earn for those brave enough to seek them.
Ooh.
When the sacred wisps run out of energy, they will return you back
new
to where you
helmet?
came from. Any other types of wisps you have collected will return with you to Rayclast.
Ooh, sparkles!
These
Shiny!
wisps, having been saved from the affliction, disperse into the environment
Pretty!
and inhabit randomly chosen monsters in the area,
That's
increasing
nice sound
their
design
power
too.
and also their rewards. The different types of wisps have different effects on monsters, and sometimes more than one type will inhabit a
Mapping
single
benefits?
monster, making the fight even harder and even more rewarding.
I gotta say, those lighting effects
If this
actually
happens
are
to a
really
boss,
beautiful.
You could be in for a tough fight, but if you can overcome it, your efforts will not be in vain. Primal Wisps grant an item rarity bonus to inhabited monsters. Wild Wisps grant an item quantity bonus, and Vivid Wisps cause them to drop currency items. If a monster
Oh,
gets
yeah.
all three types, they'll drop more
I like
items
all
of a
three of
higher
those
rarity
things.
and a lot of currency.
Is
While
Last
exploring
Rate
the
getting
Wildwood,
buffed? Why do they
you
keep
might
showing
find
Last Rate?
Some of the last few Asmiri wanderers who have managed to survive in the forest since it was cursed. Each of them have different survival specializations, and they are willing to teach you if you agree to help them defeat the source of the affliction, the King in the Mists. Choose which of the Asmiri that you will complete quests for to unlock one of 3 new Ascendancy classes, which you can have in addition to your regular Ascendancy class.
In
Up
addition!
to 8 points for these classes are unlocked as you complete more quests for the Asmiri you are training under. The Warden of Eves can teach you to
What?
become a Warden of
Holy
the
power creep,
a
Batman!
powerful class that takes advantage of wilderness knowledge. A Warden of the Magi can learn to use tinctures which coat their weapon, granting various powerful effects. You can equip tinctures in your flask slots and toggle them on and off at will.
New
You
flasks?
only have one enabled at a time, but the effects are quite conditional, so you may want to have more than one equipped and swap between them during combat. For example, equip the Ironwood tincture
Weapon
to gain the
flasks!
benefit of always stunning enemies on full life.
What?
Tinctures can also get random mods. This one in particular adds stacks of wither to targets on full life and steals frenzy charges on hit, which makes it great as an initiator.
What?
When you are fighting rare monsters or finishing off tough bosses, you will want to swap to the Oak Branch tincture, which grants Culling Strike, increased damage against enemies on low life,
And
a
it's
chance
just
to
you
steal a mod
you
from
apply
rare
it.
enemies you kill. You can buy more tinctures from the Warden of Eves using Primal Wisps when you find her,
What?
so keep an eye out for her. As a Warden of the Magi gains more ascendancy points, they gain access to more skills that let them further specialize in tinctures.
There's
For example,
no way,
Mage's
right? There's
Concoction
got to be a
allows you to
catch.
invest in having your tinctures enhance your flasks.
How rare are these things?
This ascendancy skill makes it important to think about which slots your tinctures are placed in, and what flasks they are adjacent to. You will have better uptime on those flasks, and they'll be stronger as a result. But there are
Flasks
plenty more skills
sustain
to choose,
from
even if
tinctures.
you don't want to engage with tinctures. For example, another new ability to unlock is Barkskin.
New
It's
defensive
a
layer?
reservation skill that causes bark to grow all over your body, increasing armor.
That effect looks beautiful.
As you take damage, the bark falls off, increasing your evasion. Over time, the bark will grow back, removing the evasion bonus but increasing your armor again.
Whoa.
The Breaker of Oaths can teach you to become a Warlock of the Mists.
Yo, that deer didn't
an
deserve this.
ascendancy class specializing in the darker arts of the Izmiri.
Warlock of the
One
Mist.
powerful ability you can choose is Blood Hunt, which grants an active skill called Ravenous.
Oh, sound
This skill
design.
lets you see what type a monster is under its life bar, whether it is a demon, beast, undead, construct, or humanoid. Consuming a corpse with
Bestiary?
the skill gives a buff to damage against that type of monster, and reduces damage taken by it. You can only have one type active at a time, so it's a good
Void
idea to
wolves?
choose wisely for the area that you are in.
A really interesting defensive
Some
layer
bosses
there.
like the
Holy
Raven
cow.
are eldritch in nature and don't conform to the regular corpses that you have access to. But don't worry. The Breaker of Oaths has a shop where you can trade wild wisps for corpses that you can place on the ground wherever you are. Buy an eldritch corpse and you will be able to get the bonus while fighting eldritch entities like the Maven. You may notice that most of the corpses he sells are not monsters you normally encounter.
Just carry
You
a
might want to
corpse
try
in your
turning some of
inventory.
these corpses into specters to take advantage of some of the unique abilities that these monsters have.
Oh, holy crap!
The Warlock of the Mists gets access to many other abilities. For example, there is a trio of curses that you can pick from. One of these curses targets your minions, giving them life degen and making them explode for massive damage when they are near death. One of them prevents enemies from dealing damage for the latter portion of its duration, which is quite powerful against bosses. This curse creates the interesting build decision of whether or not you should increase curse duration or reduce it. The final curse is a mark that causes enemy phantasms to be spawned when you hit the marked enemy. These phantasms aren't on your side, so they work well with on-hit and on-kill trigger effects, for example.
Ooh.
The Primal Huntress can teach you to become a Wildwood Primalist. Unlike the other new ascendancies, the Primal Huntress lets you customize your tree. You do
But
this
how?
with charms that you can buy from the Primal Huntress for Vivid Wisps. Charms have randomly generated mods, which give stats from regular ascendancy
Yo!
classes,
Diablo 2 charms!
allowing you to create your own hybrid ascendancy class. Charms are magic items that are aligned with different attributes.
Oh, I thought you were
For
gonna get like a
example,
full inventory of
this Ursuline
charms.
charm is strength aligned, and has gotten the melee hits have a chance to fortify stat from the champion, and the ability to stop your movement speed going below base from the Juggernaut. This interline Corvine charm lets you get the stat that makes your consecrated ground effects linger from the Inquisitor, and the effect that
Explode
makes
for
cursed
minions?
enemies explode
Holy.
from the Occultist. Some of the
Holy
combination of mods that you
crap!
might find for sale on charms can be extremely powerful, So keep a lookout for the Primal Huntress's shop, even if you are not playing as a Primalist.
Wow, plus
As a
maximum
Primalist,
charges.
You also get access to a few other interesting abilities.
Is it randomly earned?
Use war cries next to creatures and they have a chance to drop an extra item. It opens nearby
I think you
chests
can get
too.
some from vendors, but then yes, you also get these as rewards
The
depending
Primalist
upon what your
also gets
ascendancy
access to a
is
small
chosen in the
extra
woods.
backpack, just in case you find yourself needing to cart more items to town during your map runs.
You get an
If you are
extra
unhappy
bag?
with the class you picked, or you just happen to find a really great item for another one of the classes, you are able to change which class you are using next time you find one of the Asmeri Wanderers. Just remember that you will have to do their quests in order to gain the ascendancy points for that class. These quests will lead you towards the ultimate goal of the Asmeri: finding the King in the Mists, defeating him, and cleansing the forest of its affliction once and for all. There are new uniques to find, rewards to claim, and new ascendancy classes to master in the Affliction League. Now that we've covered what's in the league, let's talk about some of the changes
Holy.
you can expect to the core
Yep,
game in
that's a
3.3.
log in from me.
For a start, Ultimatum is finally going core. When talking to
Yes.
players at ExileCon, it was the #1 feature that people requested. When playing through in-game maps, you may sometimes encounter the Trial Master, who offers you a choice to undertake a deadly Val trial in exchange for great rewards. If you defeat the trial, he offers to go double or nothing with you. Do you take the risk and go for an even better reward? Or do you take the winnings you have already
You
earned
go
off
for the
table?
better reward. Come
We've done a
on.
full rebalance of Ultimatum and have added many new mods and rewards, including both new and reworked uniques.
Gamble
The
sprint.
base number of rounds for an Ultimatum trial is now always
Exile's
10, with a
temptation.
chance to spawn the Trial Master boss fight on the 10th round, if you are able to make it that far. As part of 3.23, we have also removed Metamorph from the game. All the Catalyst rewards from Metamorph have now been moved to be rewards for Ultimatum.
Yo, dude, we can
We've
finally
also added a new
stand up from our
Valve-themed
games
catalyst
again in the
that
middle
works
of
on corrupted
Ultimatum.
items. As is normal for most content that gets added to in-game, we have introduced new Ultimatum passive skills to the Atlas tree. One great example is the Keystone Grueling Gauntlet. It makes Ultimatums last 3 extra rounds, but you cannot choose the modifiers, and it prevents the final Trial Master boss fight from spawning. The level of challenge becomes extreme during the last 3 rounds, and not being able to choose the modifiers makes it even harder. But the rewards are insane, and for those with very high-end characters, it might be a bet worth making. There are lots of other Atlas passive skills you can pick from for Ultimatum, so choose wisely. Now,
3
it's time to
divine
talk about
orbs.
one of the largest metagame changes we've ever made.
Okay?
There were 3 systems in Path of Exile that were all trying to subtly
Do
modify
it.
the behavior of skills.
Fucking do it!
Infinite quality gems, Labyrinth Helmet enchants, and unique threshold jewels. We've combined all of these together to create a new system called Transfigured Gems that allows us to fully achieve the goal of these 3 systems and then some.
What?
Transfigured Gems are alternative versions of existing skill gems that have different functionality and balance from their regular versions. A
Whoa!
huge number
Calm
of
down,
interesting
skeletal
variations
archers.
that drastically change how existing skills play. For example, Frostbomb of Instability. It
What even was
changes it from
that?
a cooldown skill that you can cast occasionally for a large explosion into a skill that you can cast continuously but deals less damage and doesn't apply cold exposure.
This is a new game.
It changes the role of Frostbomb from a utility skill into a main damaging skill.
They have stopped messing
Another
around.
example is Detonate Dead of Scavenging. You can't use it on corpses that were created by Desecrate or Unearth, but in exchange it does a whole lot more damage. You won't be able to use it as your main reliable source of damage, but it's a great skill to use as a 4-link utility to get some extreme
Gems
burst
can now drop with
Raise zombie or
affixes.
falling. Instead of raising a zombie from a corpse, you summon them from midair. They fall to their death, dealing AoE damage where they land. While this sounds like a physical damage version of Firestorm, you should consider that it scales with minion damage and also triggers undeath minion effects. Blight of Contagion. This version of
You
Blight
can
is now
summon a
spread by
zombie
Contagion,
from the sky and
so
have
use
it
as
fall
part
on
of
your
the
enemy?
Strain build. We have a huge number of these. Transfigure Firestorm into Firestorm with Meteors, transfigure Blade Trap into Blade Trap of Great Swords, transfigure Barrage into Barrage of Volley Fire, and so on. There is a lot to experiment with, and we look forward to seeing what builds you can come up with. But how do you get Transfigured Gems? The Divine Font at the end of the Eternal Labyrinth has been changed to a gem crafting device that can modify your skill and support gems in a lot of new ways. One of the options you can now choose is to turn a skill gem into one of 3 Transfigured Gems. But that isn't all the Divine Font can do. It has a lot of other gem crafting options you can use. For example, you can add quality to gems, add experience to gems, sacrifice a gem for one or more treasure keys to open Azara's chests, and you can even exchange support gems for exceptional support gems like Empower or Enlighten. These are just some of the options you'll find the Divine
Yo,
Fire capable of.
huge quality of life.
Rewards and heists that
Oh my
previously gave
god.
quality gems, we have done a rebalance of the rewards of heist as well.
Heist rebalance?
Experimented base types have been rebalanced. New replica uniques have been added and old ones changed, and we have increased the amount of currency from display cases as well.
Inverse replica badge of the
On top of
Brotherhood?
this, we have
Oh
gone through
my
and buffed the quality
goodness.
stats on most damage dealing skills. In most cases, they will be significantly more powerful than before, and also more interesting. Overall, this is one of the largest metagame shifts that we've ever done. There are so many crazy new skill combinations to plan around, so we expect to see some really interesting new builds.
Oh my god.
Next up, I'd like to have
Tornado shot Andes are feasting.
At this point, we'd usually talk about the League supporter packs. We're doing things a bit differently this year. Rather than releasing League supporter packs today and then our annual core
That
packs
is
2 weeks later,
that is a
we've
login
combined
from
it all
me,
together into
everybody.
a strong set of core supporter packs that will be released alongside
If
Path
none of
Exile
that
Affliction
excited
next
you,
week.
I don't know how to help
The
you.
series contains
Surfboard!
5 packs, each with its full value in points and a collection of exclusive cosmetic microtransactions. The higher packs contain physical merchandise. We'll unveil the full details of each of the packs at release next week. But in the meantime, here's a
These
sneak
guys
peek
are
of some of their
actually
exclusive cosmetic
insane.
microtransactions. These packs will be available for purchase when Path of Exile Affliction launches on the 8th of December.
Ooh, that looked good.
Thank you so much for your ongoing support.
Now that's a finisher.
We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards, we'll post Path of Exile Affliction's full patch notes.
No wonder they're raising the
With release at the
specification
end of next
requirements.
week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for Affliction's release. Keep an eye on the news.
With animations
On release
like that,
weekend, we expect
yeah.
to launch the new mystery box and this season's Kyrix Vault Pass. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments.
That
We're
has
looking
to
forward
be
exploring the
one of the
Viridian Wild
most
with you next week.
exciting
We'll begin the
expansion
Q&A
content
shortly,
reveals
so
I
please
think
get
I've
your
ever
questions
participated
ready.
in. That is insane. Not only am I just ecstatic for PoE 2, I mean, everything that they told me about I don't even know the exact name. I was just too busy being hyped out of my gourd with how many skill interactions there were for PoE 2. And that's all they showed on screen. It's not like they've gone over everything. You look at design choices like that are happening in PoE 1 now, and it's like, okay, PoE 2 is obviously going to be something similar. Or if not even further down the road of insanity. This is going to be fun. This season, I have no idea what I'm doing anymore.